And showtime, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the latest episode of the ChannelPro 5-Minute Roundup, a look at news, trends, and tips for the SMB channel in 5 minutes or thereabouts. My name is Rich Freeman. I am one of your co-hosts on this program. With me, as ever, is my co-host, Eric Simpson, a business transformation and improvement expert for MSPs and other IT providers. Eric, you are not in your office this week. Tell folks where you are.
No, I'm in one of my partners' offices here in Buffalo, New York this week. So helping them celebrate the grand opening of their new facility.
And you're wearing their shirt. You got the logo in the background there. Go ahead, give them a plug. Who are you visiting with?
ACP Technologies. Yep. So I've been a longstanding client of mine and just happy to help them celebrate this new evolution in their growth. And luckily, Rich, here in Buffalo, it's not snowing yet. So good timing for me.
Yep, you picked the right time of year to visit Buffalo. Well done. Well, let's dive into the week's news here. And here's the big story. It concerns Intel and the evolution of its partner program. So you dial the clock back to about March at the Intel Partner Connect event, and they made a big announcement that they were going to be rolling together what are today still a series of separate partner programs: the Intel Technology Provider Program, the Cloud Insider Program, their IoT program. Those are all siloed offerings right now. They were created at a time when most of the partners that Intel does business with really only interacted with the company in one way. But these days, more and more often, the same company is doing more than one thing with Intel, and it really didn't make a whole lot of sense for them to have to deal with 3 separate partner programs and portals and requirements and everything else. So Intel is on a path. This is not a quick or overnight journey. They're on a path to replace all of those existing programs with a new one called the Intel Partner Alliance. It is scheduled to officially go into effect in the second half of 2020. What happened this week is sort of the first down payment, the first big milestone in that journey. Intel rolled out something called the Intel Partner University. It pulls together training and education resources from a number of different partner programs in one place. Because of the efficiencies involved in actually having all of your education resources in one place and having one plan for developing all those resources, they were able to free up some budget as well and create a whole bunch of new materials in 12 different competencies that they've defined. There's a whole sort of curriculum, a 101, 201 level kind of path that you can take as a user to educate yourself on these 12 competencies. If you make it all the way through and test out, you get the right to use a badge either on your LinkedIn page as an individual or your company's page. So that right there is sort of an indication of the kind of thing that we can expect on a bigger level down the road. Because the other significant thing we got out of Intel this week was some details about what the Intel Partner Alliance is going to look like. We know that there will be 3 levels that they're defining as member, gold, and titanium. They are saying that most partners will not be surprised by which tier they wind up in the new program. It should feel pretty logical and intuitive where they wind up. There are some people who might be sort of at the edge of gold versus titanium who, because of steeper requirements are more in the middle of the gold tier instead. But Intel discussed some additional benefits that they're rolling out at the gold level to make sure nobody feels cheated by any of these changes. We know that they're within this one giant program that's going to have thousands of partners of many, many different kinds. We know that there are going to be roles defined and communities defined so that, if you're a system integrator versus an ISV, it's going to be a little bit easier for you to find the material and peers who are, have relevant and similar kinds of expertise. And then there are some other things that they've created, specializations, which basically are going to provide some additional benefits and materials to smaller sets of partners with especially deep expertise in strategic areas and sales and marketing related initiatives. But we got our first good look at the Intel Partner Alliance and our first sort of concrete look at how the world will be different for Intel partners in this Intel Partner University announcement. And the hope from Intel's standpoint is that all of this winds up meaning that it's easier to do business with Intel and easier as their partner to get what you need to work with them.
Yeah, and as you know, Rich, the online training and enablement is near and dear to my heart, and I see this as a necessary step forward for Intel because of what you mentioned in your article, the kind of the disparity or the bifurcation of all these different programs and all that. I applaud them for taking on a strategy to make the success of their partners simpler for them to access these tools and training. And I was really pleased to see a strong, presence in the curriculum around marketing and sales enablement as well. So it's not just typical technology training and speeds and feeds. It's really helping those partners learn how to grow their businesses from an operational marketing and sales enablement improvement perspective through this program. So, I applaud that perspective. And again, just making it simpler and easier to find access and put into use this training and these tools and these assets in this new evolution. So you mentioned, it's not going to be something that happens overnight. Do you have a sense for kind of the timeline and the deployment strategy over time and what's being prioritized?
So, I mean, we know that there are a series of milestones. What they're basically saying at this point, and this is pretty consistent with what they've said from the beginning, is that sometime in the back half of next year, they'll be done. They'll have it all kind of rolled out. The next big milestone that we know about, and it kind of goes to what you were just talking about there, is we know that in November, they're going to introduce the Intel Solutions Marketplace. So, one of the benefits of having one big partner program is just the ease of doing business, one portal to go to, et cetera. But it also kind of enables partners of different varieties to find each other and find solutions from one another a little bit more easily. And so that's what this solutions marketplace concept is about. Their IoT program had something like this before. And, we know IoT solutions tend to involve a whole ecosystem of partners. The idea was to build upon that, expand it out across the entire Intel partner base, and allow companies to find one another, find compatible solutions, and through peer-to-peer interaction facilitated by this marketplace, go to market together on solutions that combine some of these products. So that's the next big milestone we know about. That comes in November. As we get into the first part of 2020, they're going to start getting a little bit more specific. Right now, we don't know very much about the requirements to qualify at the gold tier or the titanium tier. They're going to start getting more specific about that early in the new year, and they have said that there will be tools online that will show you where you're at today and how you're tracking, so that when the Intel Partner Alliance officially rolls out later in the year, you won't be surprised by the tier you wind up in.
Well, great. I'll be very keen to continue reporting on this story as it develops, Rich, because I think it's a real value add to Intel's partner channel, and a necessary transformation, as well as a distinguisher, a differentiator for their channel partners.
Well, now, one of the benefits that Intel is hoping its partners enjoy as a result of its unification of these various partner programs here is it's going to be easier for the partners to find resources that they may not have known about before. And that kind of ties in nicely to your tip of the week, Eric.
It certainly does. Nice segue, Rich. So the tip of the week this week is directly related to some of the conversations and the work that I've been doing with some key partners this year. And it's simply this: it's reaching out to identify what government or state or local programs may be available to you to help defray the cost of bringing on new staff. So I have several partners today in various states that are actually leveraging leveraging programs that are available to them to bring on staff specifically in the cybersecurity side of the business. So because there's such a dramatic lack of resources in the cybersecurity, I think I saw a report recently, Rich, that indicated that there are 200,000 open positions right now in the security space, and projecting forward to 2023, those numbers get exponentially greater. So there are programs out there that are helping businesses hire to fill these gaps, and in many cases they're covering a portion, if not all, of the salary for a period of time for these new hires. So I thought that was a very interesting opportunity, and a new wave of movement toward helping staff up for technical roles and specifically cybersecurity roles.
And hats off to the governments that have created programs like that. Because there are obviously social implications, social fallout from breaches that go beyond the business that got breached. It impacts large numbers of people. Typically, there are costs that can affect the government itself directly. And so it really does kind of make sense to encourage businesses to properly staff themselves, to hire people that they need to stay safe and protect their technology. And seeing a little money put behind that, I think, is a good thing.
Absolutely, and we've seen some programs like this in the past, to help different segments of society find job opportunities and things like that. And now I just see this more kind of very intentional push to help, in the technical arena, especially around security.
So we've got time for just one more story this week on the 5-Minute Roundup. Providing some money to underwrite the hiring of security professionals, that's a pretty good way to spend money. I'm kind of thinking about this one a little bit. I'm imagining a room full of scientists, and they're looking at each other and thinking, boy, we're coming up on the end of the year. We got a little budget left over. What do we do with it? Wait, I've got an idea. Let's teach rats to drive. Because that's what they did, apparently, at the University of Richmond. Courtesy of the BBC, we learned that scientists there have taught a group of 17 rats how to drive little plastic cars. Why? Not entirely sure, but in case rats weren't sufficiently mobile before, now they're learning to drive, and we learned they're actually enjoying it. They have measured the the relaxation state of these rats, and they are more contented once they learn how to drive. There's some speculation by the scientists that there's actually a kind of inner satisfaction that these rats enjoy by acquiring a new skill. So thank you, science. Driving rats, that's what I needed in my life.
It certainly makes you think about, these autonomous vehicles, that all the car companies are coming up with. And just to think that there may be another option here. We may have little rodent drivers, to pilot these larger vehicles. And, I encourage our viewers to research this, because the pictures alone in this article are worth the browse. I mean, it's just hilarious, right, Rich?
It absolutely is. I'm looking at it right now, and that's one happy looking rat. I'll say that. So,
as if we don't have enough, I don't know, beings driving cars. Now we've got the rats to contend with.
And by golly, they enjoy it. I don't know. Traffic, it doesn't appeal to me very much, but these guys, they just can't get enough driving. Well, that is all the time we've got this week on the 5-Minute Roundup. Thank you so much for joining us. If you like the show, you want to keep up on new episodes, maybe take a look at some ones from the past that you've missed, best thing to do is subscribe to the ChannelPro Network channel on YouTube. Make sure you click that little bell icon there so you get notifications when new episodes become available. To read up more on the Intel Partner Program, and there's a lot more to read up on, also catch up on other things happening in the industry, get some business growth tips for your company. Place to go is channelpronetwork.com. We have got great new content going up there for you every day. To learn more about Erick and the work that he does with his clients, your destination is ericksimpson.com. That is ERICK Simpson.com. We will be back again next week with another episode of the 5-Minute Roundup for you. Erick and I will be seated side by side. In fact, for the next few weeks, we're going to be traveling around the country together to a number of different events. So we're going to be doing these together for the next few episodes. Until then, though, please enjoy the rest of your week. Erick and I are enjoying the rest of your week already.